In this tutorial, I will take you through signing up and setting up your account for Play Digital Signage. The first thing is signing up, of course, and you can choose between Facebook, Google, Microsoft, or you can simply just sign up with a regular email address and a password, which is what I'm doing here. So I'm going to accept the terms and conditions and I'm going to hit register. So the first thing we will be doing is adding a screen, and I'm assuming that you already downloaded, installed and launched the Play app before you started creating your account, or before at least starting to add a screen. So when you start up the app the first time, you will see a 6-digit code. That's the code that I'm punching in here. I will give my screen a name, maybe a location, maybe some notes, and I will accept again that we offer a free screen. The next ones will be $18 per screen. So you're at the screen's overview page, and you can see up here that the screen has been added. You have some basic information here. You see that the screen is actually updated. You can request a screenshot, you can publish new content, and you have a couple of settings for your screen. The most important one of those would be launching the player on the startup. So for example, if you have a power outage, then you will make sure the player is automatically booting up whenever the power comes back on. Remember to save. Next, I want to add some files to my library. And in my case, I will add a couple of logos that I have local on my MacBook. The files will automatically upload and convert so that they're optimized for digital signage. The next step is creating our first playlist. I'm going to give my playlist a name. Then I'm not selecting it as default as 16:9, but you can pick whatever. You can of course choose zones. In this scenario we're not. We're simply just going with a standard playlist. So on the playlist overview page, you have a couple of information too. You have your playlist name, the duration of the playlist, how many slides do you have in the playlist, and the aspect ratio. You can add background music right here, publish your updates in the playlist to your screens, and of course you have your settings for the individual playlist. You can also share your playlist with people outside your organization. We're simply going to do edit playlist. In the lowest section down here is what we call the slide overview. And as you can see, there is only our first default slide, but I'll add another. These can be dragged and dropped. And of course, you have some basic information. You have a slide name, you have a slide duration, and the pencil will lead you directly to settings for each individual slide. Up here, you set the duration of the slide. You can add a transition or a couple of really awesome transitions. And of course, there are a couple other settings that we're not going to go into. We're simply just going to hit save and move on with our content creation. So just above your slide overview, you will find what we call a canvas. The canvas is where you design your content. On the right side, you have all the settings, in this case for the canvas itself, but if you, for example, mark or click on one of the plugins, you will have the settings for that individual plugin. In the top, you find all the content, text, shapes, royalty-free content, social media, and of course, all the files from your library. In this case, I'm simply going to add our logo. This is slide 2, so I'm going to mark slide number 1, change the background to a dark, and then I'm going to add our white logo on here. And let's just say that this is your content, this is what you want to end up with, or at least this is what you want to try out with. When you're done, you can preview it or you can publish it directly to your screens. In my case, I'm simply gonna exit the playlist and then enter groups and schedules. Groups are the glue between our content and our TVs. So in this case, you see our standard group with the screen that we added just earlier, but we don't want to be running the welcome playlist, so let's change that to the playlist that we just added. When you've done that, you simply hit the publish button, and then within seconds you will see that your screen has updated. If we go back to screens, you will see that the screen is online. It would be red if it was offline, and you also see that the content is updated. So that's how easy it is to create an account at Play Digital Signage, adding your screen, adding a couple of files in your library, creating the content within your playlists, and then finally adding it to your group. You can go to playsignage.com if you want to find more information on how to create specific content, how to use our plugins, the scheduling, how does that work. All of those tutorials are to find both on our website or on YouTube.